If you're not successful in business, advertising might be the skill you lack. So the question is, what's advertising? Alex Hormozi did a great job of defining this for me in $100 million Leads. It's simply the process of making known. How often have you had the build it and they will come mentality? I had that for my podcast, and 700 plus episodes later, my audience isn't where I want it to be. And I also don't have the feedback to iterate towards something more people want to watch. What you need to do is hatch a plan to advertise using one of the core 4 in Hormozi's book, $100 Million Leads. Those include one-to-one cold outreach, one-to-one warm outreach, one-to-many cold outreach, and one-to-many warm outreach. Stop letting great things be unknown and start advertising so that you can serve the people around you and show up where they need you to. All right, so now we're going to take a deep dive into the core 4 so that we know how to show up for the people around us, especially where they need us to. I mean, first to that is getting an offer, but considering you already have something of value, considering you have already identified and sought to fill a need in the marketplace, this is how you get the word out about it. One-to-one cold outreach, what does that look like? And this is really simple, actually. It looks like getting a list of people and shooting them a personalized message. Like, that is it. It can be a list of email addresses. It can be a list of Instagram accounts, Facebook accounts, phone numbers. For example, in real estate, you can go to batch leads, you can get a list of properties, you can skip trace that properties, and it will give you phone numbers and email addresses. You can then send personalized emails and personalized texts to all those people to generate leads for real estate. With this cold DM strategy I'm thinking about, you can get a list of Instagram accounts, a list of Facebook accounts, and you can start to send out cold direct messages. And even if you don't want to scrape them, you can go to the comment section of people who have your ideal client in their comments. And then you can start clicking on those profiles, and you can just start cold DMing. You could just hit up everybody on Instagram like that. Like, literally millions of people at your disposal. So one-to-one cold outreach is just getting a way to find strangers who might be interested and then figuring out a way to send them a personalized cold outreach message. And the ideal way to personalize this is maybe starting with a compliment, because people love flattery. They love thinking about themselves. So if you start with a compliment something that they're doing professionally, if you're trying to sell them something regarding their professional life, or just if they've been working out a lot, and you're selling supplements or something like that, or their reels look really good and you're selling an editing software, hit them up, compliment them on something that's tangentially related to the thing you're selling, and then ask them a question about it. That is just to get a response. So compliment, question, they answer, then you kind of go into your pitch from there as like, okay, that's my question. It's really cool that you've been doing this for 2 years. Sucks that you have to do it alone though. Have you ever thought about having somebody do it for you? Huh, no, I haven't. Nobody's ever asked me. Oh, cool. Well, we do it for free. And for the first 5 podcast episodes, we'll edit them for free. And if you like them, we can talk about what it looks like to build a further relationship. Can we edit your first 5 podcasts for free? They're like, yeah, sure, go ahead, edit 5 podcasts. Now you're adding value first before you try to charge them for, selling them your editing services monthly, right? So that's one-to-one cold outreach, compliment, question, or compliment, value prop, book a meeting. It just depends on how you want to do stuff. Best rule of thumb, quick, fast value. Like big, fast value, I think is what Hormozi says. All this is in his book. He does a much better job of explaining it, but this is just how I understand it. One-to-one warm outreach, that's typically a list of people you know. So the people who already follow you, the people in your phone contacts, the email addresses you already have saved, that can get you your first 5 to 10 customers. Again, you just reach out to those people, you hit them up, and you say, hey, I'm doing this for free. Do you want it? And they'll say yes or no. If you don't want it, do you know somebody who wants it? And they'll say yes or no. And you can do the same thing in cold outreach. Do you know anybody who would be interested? Easier ask, right? So that's one-to-one. People you know, people you don't know. One-to-many cold outreach, people you don't know, because it's cold, is ads. It can be Google ads, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, TikTok ads. It's just shooting out ads to a lot of people very quickly, It can be email blasts, but really email blasts that are automated is like one-to-one a lot of times very quickly. This is truly like you're just blasting it out there to an audience, probably based on some demographic information that you have for the platform or some sort of lookalike audience. So that's one-to-many cold outreach, and that's typically a video, an image. I'm really not that great at paid advertising, but what I do know is it's that kind of organic content that we're about to go into one-to-many warm outreach. That's what I'm doing for the podcast, and it's hook, retain, reward, hook, retain, reward, hook, retain, reward. And so for one-to-many cold outreach, I think it's hook, retain, offer. And so you got to hook them in the first 2 seconds. You need to know, I'm talking to you to solve your problem. And when you do that in the first 2 to 5 seconds, you then need to go about solving their problem in the retain and tell them why they should continue to come along with your problem solving. And then you offer them to come along in the problem solving. So it's like, hey, if you're an entrepreneur with $1 million in profit and your sales are hurting, right? Now you know who you're talking to and what pain point they have. I have the perfect solution for you. This new AI thing that I came up with is gonna book 100 appointments in the next 2 days, and I'm gonna do it completely for free. In fact, if you don't book 100 appointments in the next 2 days, I will give you $1 million. That would be a great offer. You'd probably go bankrupt, but it'd be a great offer. And then they'd be like, huh, retained and reward. If you want 100 appointments in the next 2 days or $1 million in the next 2 days, you're getting one or the other. Hit the link below, fill out the contact form, and we'll call you in the next 5 minutes. That could be an ad. You know, that's like hook, retain, reward. Hook, retain, reward. And, you know, that might not be the best example, but that's the point. And if you want really good examples, go to the last couple things you bought off of Instagram and Facebook, and you'll probably, off of paid ads off Instagram and Facebook, and you'll probably see that kind of structure where they hook you, they told you a story to kind of retain you, and then they reward you at the end or put the offer at the end. So that's one-to-many cold outreach and one-to-many warm outreach, actually. This is just organic content. So cold outreach, you're paying to have that content shot out to a cold audience. Warm outreach, you're sending that content to your warm audience. And what that really looks like is the hook, retain, reward as opposed to the hook, retain, offer. And warm outreach is tough for me. I haven't really cracked it. Obviously, I'm doing it. Like I'm doing the podcast. I'm doing the cold outreach and one-to-many warm outreach. One-to-one cold outreach, one-to-many warm outreach. Haven't really touched one-to-one warm outreach because, frankly, I've done it before and the people I'm with don't, maybe I just haven't presented them a good enough offer, but they're typically not interested in like going into business with me, which is really what I'm looking to do right now. And then the one-to-many cold outreach just costs dollars that I don't have right now. So one-to-one cold outreach, you can kind of scale it pretty cheaply. And then one-to-many warm outreach, making content, is also pretty free. So I'm doing the hook, retain, reward. It's how I plan every piece of content, every first 60 seconds of a piece of content. And then I answer questions throughout the rest of the content. But the one-to-many warm outreach, the reason it's difficult is like, do I need to boost posts to get them in front of a greater audience of people so that the stuff is more shareable? Or is it true that my friends and family who follow me and the algorithm will help boost my content such that I am, you know, hitting the stuff I need to hit and getting to where I need to get? And right now my page hasn't been growing. In fact, it's been shrinking because I think people didn't like me spamming their feed and I was showing up more on their feed. And while views have gone up, it's not really shareable, but I'm also like, the people who are following me aren't my ideal client. Like they're not trying to buy businesses or buy real estate, or they don't know people who are trying to do that. So I don't know how much they would, you know, shoot their or share this content. So that's why I kind of want to boost it and get it to another group of people before I start changing a bunch of stuff. Because I'm like, I just don't have any feedback at all, really. And so with that, we've kind of gone over the core 4. Next is the rule of 100. It's like, do 100 outreaches for 100 days. And that's very simple. Like, send out 100 cold messages, 100 warm messages, $100 in ad spend, or 100 minutes on content. And do that for 100 days straight, and you'll have more leads than you know what to do with. The rule of 100 times leverage is have other people on your behalf send out 100 pieces of input for 100 days straight. So like my VA is about to start sending out 100 DMs to kind of get these free courses out there, and we're gonna see how many leads we get from the free courses. So 100 DMs, 100 days straight, that's leverage, because then I could also go send out 100 DMs. Or I could use tech to automatically send out 500 DMs a day from 10 different Instagram accounts, right? And so these are some of the things you have to think about when you're implementing the advertising of making this stuff known. You're doing your cold outreach, you're doing your warm outreach. How can I employ leverage? And then how can I get down to the base unit and do it as much in as short a time as possible, consistently? So if you can do 200 for 100 days straight, do that. If you can do 500 for 100 days straight, do that. But be ready to take in the leads and service them, right? That's what we got for you guys today on the show. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you on the next one. And remember, we are a community of people judged not by our wealth, but by our impact.